Hi. This is a continuation of the video I did called Characteristics of the Crystal Soul. I'm only given a small amount of time with YouTube videos, so I'm always trying to squeeze in as much as I can. So some of the characteristics that I've discussed in my previous video, which you can see on my channel, was that crystals are often vegan, vegetarian. Crystals are very, very drawn to fruits, fruit-based diet, plants, vegetables. It's just a very natural inclination. We're just not drawn to flesh, to meat. We would, from the time we were very, very young, like I turned vegetarian when I was about 11 or 12, and it seemed like such a relief to be old enough to make that decision for myself, to decide that I didn't want to eat. As I used to say, if it had a face, I don't want to eat it. So I've never looked back. I actually went into veganism then shortly afterwards in my teens. For me, it just eating plant-based just really blends well with my frequency, with my lifestyle, with my beliefs, with my level of compassion that I have for other beings and other living things. So that's a very strong trait with all people on the spiritual path, but specifically for the crystal frequency. And crystal souls, not all, it's important not to get bogged down with dates and numbers. So this is just a loose guideline, but most crystals were born in the early 80s, between the early 80s and early 90s. That's when the majority of crystal souls came forth into the earth, into Gaia, into the earth experience. I was born in 81, and in my clients, in my friends, and the people I recognize as crystals, the majority of us were born early 80s and between early 90s. Again, that's just, don't get hung up on dates and numbers and things like that. I'm sure there's crystals who'll trickle through, probably trickling through right now. So we are what Dolores Cannon termed the second wave of souls, the second wave of volunteer souls who volunteered to come onto planet Earth to raise and hold a frequency. So crystal souls are very much about being the light. We hold a lot of light in our auras, and we often have very big, quite bouncy auras. And most people love being around that energy because it's uplifting, it's bountiful, it's abundant. And Dolores Cannon, she really describes the crystal souls, the second waves, so well. I remember the first time a friend sent me the information, the link with Dolores Cannon describing the crystal souls, and it just took my breath away because I felt like somebody was recognizing, was literally reading me out word for word. As Dolores Cannon said, the crystals, the second waves, we only have to walk through, as she said, a shopping mall and the energy is cleared. We are clearers. Our energy takes the dross and lightens it. So we lighten everything. We lighten heaviness. The first wave of souls would be more sponge-like, in that they're more like sponges, the early indigos. They're very good at absorbing other people's negativity. Now the crystals, we have some of that going on. We can suffer with being too absorbent of our environment and people around us. But the big lesson for the crystal soul is learning to stay grounded, physically present in the physical body while holding the space for yourself and being around others. Crystals love alone time. They love solitude. They need it. However, sometimes it can get out of balance. Sometimes crystals just want to shut out the world and can spend far too much time in solitude to their own detriment. Crystals often are not big lovers of people, you know. They don't need a lot of attention. In fact, they much prefer staying in the background. They don't need social status. They don't need social recognition. They're quite happy to live peaceful lives in their own safe environment. However, the paradox here is we are here as crystals to be the crystalline energy. We're here to lighten the path for others and to be a mirror for others, to reflect back the light that others have, to shine it back to them, to remind them of their light. So even though we're quite happy to be making our jewellery in our house on our own, or painting, or we love nature. We're always out in the parks and, you know, cliffs, and we love the sea, we love the woods. We're all about that. We love peace. You know, we are peace seekers and we are peace creators. However, we must not forget that our agreement, our volunteer work was and is to come onto planet Earth and to engage with the masses, to engage with people, and to be the light bringer, to be the peacemaker, to be the healer, to be the artist, you know, to give the speeches, to talk, to reach out and engage. And even though that can seem like it's going against our natural nature, it's actually not. We can be quite shy and introverted. We're obviously high sensitives. Obviously, we're incredibly intuitive, incredibly psychic, can read people like that. Easy peasy. It's just natural. It's what we do. But once we actually engage in the mission, in the work, in the volunteer work that we came here to do, we actually develop a taste for it and a talent. We do have a talent for it. That can be a latent talent, but it is innate, and it will come up and it will be stimulated once you allow it to be engaged. And I know this from my own personal experience. I would have been a painfully shy child, incredibly shy. However, once I got past my shyness, next thing you know, I'd be leading the whole playground in a big game of holding hands and spinning round and making sure that every child was included. You know, that was something as a kid. I remember, I have strong memories of that from very, very young. You're talking 5, 6, 7, always making sure there was no child left out, and always worried if there was a child sitting on their own. You know, always trying to get everyone together in peace, in harmony, playing games, holding hands, doing the circle, you know, dancing around. I have great memories of joy and satisfaction from that as a kid. We are teachers. Crystals are born teachers, and we are here to teach. And as I said, even though the desire can be to, you know, take the easy path, the peaceful path, and just create a little perfect home space for yourself, or workspace that's away from the world, it is important that we address our soul's agreements, the soul agreement that we do engage, we do interact, and we do teach, reach out, interact, acknowledge, help, heal, assist. That is part of why we're here. And, you know, I've seen it in my work. Sometimes crystals come for sessions and things, and often a root of depression or feeling a lack of joy or dissatisfaction in life. can actually be because the crystal has forgotten that soul agreement, has forgotten that we are here to get out there and to be involved. And even though we can be a little bit shy and a little bit introverted and sensitive to, you know, that big bad world out there, it's important that we face our fears and we actually get out there and get involved. What else about the crystals? You'll see it with, you know, crystal children. They won't like group activities so much. They will be the child who will want to go off on their own with their toy, with their doll, with their whatever they're playing with, and regroup. Because the crystal, when we are around lots of other people, you know, being the crystalline, being so transparent, being such a pure, sophisticated energy, the crystal child will do its work, you know, gives off all these really beautiful healing energetic frequencies, but will constantly need every so often to leave the group situation, be on their own, call back all aspects of the self, integrate. We need to integrate all the time. And if we don't integrate regularly, we suffer. We get sick. Our mood drops. We feel drained. We have fatigue. We can get allergies. You know, integration is everything for the crystal. And if you're not sure about what integration is, you know, look it up. Matt Kahn is actually, he's a great reminder for us, us sensitive souls, about integration. And really it's just about regrouping. It's about calling back all aspects of the self and making sure that you're whole, making sure that your integral core is centered and in alignment. So first of all, there's enough for you. And that's something we need to remember as sensitive souls. If your energy is not full and brimming over, you're not going to have enough to give others. And that's just across the board. You know, you've got to have your own cup full before you can share you can overflow what's in your cup. But make sure that your own cup is full. And with the insatiable desire to help, heal, teach, assist as crystals, there can be this incredible spiritual drive to just give until there is zip and zero left. And I found in my life that's been, and I've talked to other crystals, it's the same. It's like, you know, it's like the hills. Our life kind of, you've got all this energy and you're going up the hill and you're giving, and you're on fire and you're creating and you're doing so much with your energy. Your life is just so fruitful. But we have a tendency not to know when to stop. So we just keep expending out that energy. So the energy keeps being expended until there's absolute burnout. Now, I don't burn out anymore because I've learned those lessons, and I learned them the hard way when I was much younger. So I've learned to recognize the signs and symptoms when I'm in overdrive of expenditure, of overgiving, of energy going outward too much that I'm not replenishing. So really for crystals, it's all about replenishment, you know. We have a lot to give, and we give a lot more than we realize. That's another thing about crystal souls. Like, I don't know how many times I'd be just sitting chatting with a friend. Actually, I was chatting with a friend having coffee not so long ago, and I mean, I'm just chatting in the moment casually, and she turns to me and she has this deer in headlights look, and I'm like, what did I say, you know? And she said to me, that was like an energetic slap in the face. And I said, what are you talking about? And she started to laugh, and she said, what you just said there, I so needed to hear that. Like, that hit home. I can't even remember what I said. Like, to me, I was just feeling the moment as you do, having a casual conversation with a cup of tea and a coffee with my friend. And she's like, that was destined. I needed to hear that. That happens to me all the time. I'm at